This is a new video in our series of Learn and Improve with a new trap. Our game today starts with knight f3, f5, like a Dutch opening, but white played the second move d3, and this is an interesting move. Okay, black continue with knight f6, normal move, and now nice try and interesting try by white playing e4, an interesting move. And now black played fe4, de4, and this is the position where black must be careful not to fall for a trap. Like, best try for black is to play e5 and continue normally, but if black take the pawn, he will be in a big trouble, as we are going to see in our game. Bishop d3. Okay, now white accelerating his development and attacking the knight on e4. Now, best for black is to play d5, protecting the knight, even in the cost of exchanging the queen and losing his right of castling, but it would be better than the continuation in the game. Bishop take e4, d take e4, queen take queen, king take queen, and knight g5. And this is a slight advantage for white, but nothing serious or nothing definite for winning. But it's better from the result in the game. In the game, black retreat his knight and played knight f6. So now knight g5, starting our attack, and this is like challenging the black to try his ability to defend. Now many tries for black to play. One of them, if he plays e5, then we can take on h7, and if knight take h7, and this is a bad move, we can play queen h5, king e7, queen f7, king d6, knight e4, king c6, queen c4, king d6, and knight bc3. And as you see, the black king is on b6 without any defense, and all black pieces undeveloped. So black searching for a shelter, searching for a shelter for his king. And now bishop b3, c5, knight takes c5, and now this is terrible for black. In other move, if black stick with the knight on h7, knight take h7, and you know, knight take h7, queen h5 check, and take the knight. And this is bad for black. If in this position black plays d6, also we can take on h7, knight take h7, and queen h5, the same continuation and with the same attack. King d7, knight f7, forking the queen and the rook, queen e7, queen e8, sorry, queen g4, okay, and pinning the knight, e6, and knight h8, winning the rook, knight to f6, attacking the queen, and queen to g6, trying to exchange the queens after winning the rook, and we can take our knight back. So this continuation is bad also for black. If black plays instead of d6, d5, okay, we can play also bishop h7. As you see, the best try for white is to attack on h7. Rook take or knight take, queen to h5, check, king to d7 and knight to f7, like the previous variation. If rook take, also knight take and knight take, and queen h5, the same. Okay, instead of that, if black tries c6 in this position, now white can continue with development knight c3, queen a5, and castling d6, and we can play many developing move and attacking moves, bishop d2, and bishop g4, queen e1 with attack for white. Nice position for white, attacking position for white, and black still not developed, and the king is stuck in the center. Okay, if uh, white play knight c to e4, knight bd7, okay, still the king, the black king in the center, and white building his attack, and now he's attacking the queen. Okay, in this variation, after c6, white can develop and castle. If now black plays d6, c4, of course, uh, taking more space in the center, taking the d5 square from the knight, and preparing to developing our knight on b1. g6, queen to c2, knight a6, and knight to h7. Don't forget about this idea to taking on h7. Rook h7, bishop to g6, rook to f7, and bishop to g5. Bishop to g5, and now this is a little bit unclear, but the attack of white is very strong, and still the black king in the center. So after black played queen to a5, bishop to d2, attacking the queen, queen to d6, and don't forget about this idea, bishop to h7. Don't don't care about this pawn on b2, but go for the kill and hunting the king, the black king. Okay, we know what happens after rook take or knight take here with the idea of queen to h5. Knight to c6, if he plays knight to c6, okay. Also, don't forget about to knight to h7 or bishop to h7. Knight to e5, okay, fine. We can play many moves like knight to c3, developing move, or we can attack bishop to f4, knight to d3, and queen to d3, still protecting our knight on h7, and we are developing our forces and our pieces with attack. d6, and we can play knight to g5, or we can play queen to g6. Now, after the king move, of course, he lost or he lose his right for castling. Knight to f6, g to f6, knight to c3. We are fully developed, and we have the right to, or we have the choice to castle king side or queen side. c6, and now this is still dangerous for black, and white very active and very developed, and black is passive. Now, after g6, what happens in the game? Black played g6, so g6. Uh, White tries to play, maybe he can go for h4, b5, h5, gh5, and don't forget about this idea, guys. This idea taken on h7 with the rook, or sorry, with the bishop or with the knight is very important. Knight take and queen take with check, and this is losing for black. But in the game, instead of going h4 and like a little bit slow, white took on h7, excellent move. So black, if he If he takes with the knight, bishop g6 and checkmate. And if he plays rook to g8, knight f8, king f8, and knight to c3, d5, bishop h6 check, king f7, and queen to d2, bishop f5, and we can castle queenside and with great advantage and clear advantage for white. As you see, not castle, black king not castled, and he's not developed, didn't complete his development. So let's go for what happens in the game after knight take on h7, rook take on h7, bishop take g6, and this is clear, rook to f7, g4 going for the knight, e6 giving some space for the king, g5 attacking the knight, knight to g5 to d5, and c4 of course attacking, grabbing space and keeping our advantage and our attack going on. So now we have many choices for black, knight to b6, bishop take f7, king take f7 and queen h5, king g8, going to the side of the attack, not a good idea, but what to do, g6 going for the mate, but protecting with queen e7, knight c3 and bringing more pieces for the attack, d5, and now rook g1 with a great advantage for white. Other variation like knight to e7, bishop f7, king f7, and queen h5 with advantage and attack for white. Also other variation after c4, knight to b4, of course going continuing our attack and attacking the knight, a3, knight 4 to c6, bishop take, and queen h5, king to g8, g6, going for the mate, queen e7 protecting, and knight c3, queen g7, okay, knight e4, and bishop e7, rook g1, d6, and bishop to g5 with attack and great advantage for white. In the game, black played like a bad move, like a mistake, trying to free his king and developing his bishop with the advantage with a tempo. So too simple. We can play king f1, bringing our king to a safe place, and knight to e7, bishop take, king take, and queen to h5 with attack, king to f8, and queen h6. And here black resigned, and the attack of white is very strong. So for that reason, for this reason, this is a very dangerous attack for white. After playing this move, as you notice, e4, f take, and this is the trap. If you take the pawn on e4, you are gambling with your game. You may lose very quick. So be careful and don't fall for this trap. Thank you for watching and see you next trap. Bye.